Why am I doing what I do? Why am I a counsellor? I'm a counsellor because I love people. I have always loved people and I have wanted to help. But I've wanted to help people in a way that will enable them to help themselves. So throughout my life, I have played with the idea. I've done different courses in the area, but I haven't worked to the capacity that I've been working in this area for the last 2 years. I love doing this work. I love supporting people through their journey. I call it supporting them through their journey to discover, rediscover who they are. So when I was asked how to help this problem that a client had with their staff, I took it seriously and I was up for the challenge, because indeed it was a big challenge in working out what I could possibly do, what direction I could go in terms of offering help, offering what type of help, whether it was counselling, whether it was motivational speaking. What was I going to do to try and help the people that this client wanted me to help? So hence began the project of helping people who are in the midst of drug and alcohol dependency addiction. I found that when I was in Zambia, things had changed because I grew up in Zambia, and I remember that alcoholism was never seen as an illness. It was seen as a lack of character, a lack of a person's judgment. But what happened was, when I was in Zambia last year, I realized that things had changed, that people or mental health workers had realized, or the buzz, the know, was that alcoholism is an illness, which for me, in terms of having discussions around this, having the opportunity to talk to people in terms of how to create change, it was open. The space was there because it had become something that professionals realized was out of the individual's control. So once that became known, it meant that we could actually implement some kind of help. And what kind of help was there? What kind of help is there for people who are in Zambia who have no money and are struggling, suffering with addiction? Well, what I found out is the government offers 1 week of rehabilitation at Chainama Hospital. That is outrageous. To put someone through 1 week of rehabilitation and think that they're going to be okay, think that they're going to be rehabilitated, it's farcical. I mean, it is just ridiculous. Addiction is an illness, and addiction is generally a systemic illness caused by trauma, intergenerational trauma, circumstantial trauma. This is something that is so serious that there are so many factors to be considered when you are looking at a single individual who is struggling with addiction. So, what was the first thing that I did? So, on this lady's property, we had a meeting. We had a staff meeting, and I invited a motivational speaker, someone who had overcome his addiction, to come and speak to the staff, to share his story, because I believe that storytelling, the stories that we share, that we tell about ourselves, sometimes may not necessarily be the stories that we have created. But what it also means is that these can be stories that can be changed. So when someone realizes that there are different stories, there are different ways that they can behave, that is an opportunity that possible change can happen. So I invited someone who came to tell his story about his addiction and about his recovery. And what happened was, it was the first time that the people, the staff, had ever heard about addiction, had ever heard about recovery, had ever heard or ever had a conversation about alcoholism. So what was so interesting and exciting about having that one person come and talk to 15 people was that that person touched 15 people. And each of those 15 people, whether they were struggling from alcoholism, had someone that they knew who was struggling with alcoholism. And it started to give them a little bit of clarity around the illness of alcoholism. Because what I found just by listening to what people were saying was that drugs and alcohol are actually a taboo subject, and that families, when they are dealing with individuals who are struggling with addiction, do not want to reach out to mental health professionals to find out about what steps they can take to help a loved one, because they believe that it is a family problem. We come from a culture that doesn't want to share our problems, because we feel that we need to deal with these problems ourselves. But my question is, how can you deal with something that you don't understand? And by reaching out, asking for help from people who know how to help, surely that is going to give you some clarity. So what I have realized is that there needs to be more education, more conversations around what we can do and who are the people that can help. That is why I have been making videos, and in my video description, I have said I am trying to demystify the taboo around mental health. What I would like to invite people to do is to be open to having conversations with professionals that can actually help. Because the thing is that with these problems, if they keep staying within the family system, the problems will keep repeating over and over for generations and generations to come. And we are at the precipice of our time where we need to be open in reaching out and asking for help, because there is finally help out there. There are people that can help you, and they will respect you and help you without any judgment of your situation. And that, I found, was a very big step when I invited someone to come in and talk about his experiences, his story of how he ended up in recovery, and how his story, how he has grown exponentially and has been sober for over 10 years. And how it happens for him was through the help of people around him. And when he was ready to actually make the change, because he wanted to make the change, and he now had the help. He now had people that could help him. So what happened is that after this talk, at the end of the talk, the gentleman asked the staff, is there anyone who is an alcoholic? And one person put up his hand and bravely said that he was struggling with alcoholism. So after that, after some months, we found the appropriate care, meaning that there was no free rehabilitation. His boss agreed to pay for him to go for 3 months rehabilitation at one of the 3 rehab centers in Lusaka. We didn't know how he was going to go. During this time in rehab, he went through the program. There was counselling within the program, but he also had an additional therapist. And the therapist was the motivational speaker, who is a psychiatrist. And he gave him therapy and supported him while he was going through rehab. And he also had his family supporting him under the instruction of the psychiatrist. This gentleman now, after 3 months of rehab, is clean from an addiction that he had for most of his adult life. He is able to enjoy every single day and lives in the moment, is able to be a father and a husband, an uncle and a brother and a son. He has discovered who he is and his purpose in life. This was not an easy journey for him, but what it has shown is that there is hope, rehabilitation does work, and the trajectory for himself and his family is positive, and he has a future that he didn't have 6 months ago. He can't even begin to describe what he was like before rehab. So what I'm trying to share is the excitement that I have around the opportunity and the possibility to help. And it's not just me. I'm not the only one doing the work. This is a family and a community-based event. By one person reaching out, I evaluated them. We got a psychiatrist to come and evaluate them and work with them and take them through the detox process and through rehab. Their family was there to support them. The psychiatrist talked to the family about what addiction was. And the client's wife held him accountable in a way that she knew was supportive. And this has all led to his recovery. And what it took was him reaching out and asking for help. So there is help, and I am trying to show and pave the way in helping people understand that there is help. There is help in Zambia. There are trained professionals that are running very good programs that are having success.